The Pied Piper of Hamelin. In a time long ago, the town of Hamelin thrived with joy and wealth. Nestled by a sparkling river, its cobblestone streets bustled with merchants and laughter. People lived in harmony, their homes well kept, and their fields full of harvest. But beneath the surface of prosperity lurked a growing problem that the townsfolk ignored: a mounting issue with rats. The infestation began with small scurries in the dark, easily dismissed as a minor nuisance. However, soon it escalated into an uncontrollable surge, with rats gnawing on crops, stealing bread, and nesting in the walls of homes. No pantry was safe, no grain untouched. Fear and frustration spread throughout the town as they realized that even the best traps and poisons couldn't stop the relentless swarm that continued to grow. Desperate for a solution, the townspeople gathered in the town square, their voices rising in anger and fear. Amid the clamor of complaints, the mayor climbed atop a podium, his face pale with worry. "Fear not, good people of Hamelin," he proclaimed, his voice ringing through the square. "I vow to rid our town of this menace. We shall offer a reward to anyone who can help us." The crowd fell silent, hanging on to his every word. As the meeting descended into chaos, a mysterious figure emerged from the crowd. Draped in a red tunic and green leggings, he carried a strange flute that glinted in the sunlight. His auburn hair caught the breeze as he smiled confidently at the desperate crowd. "I can rid your town of every last rat," he declared, his voice smooth as a song. "But my services come at a price." Eager for salvation, the mayor quickly agreed to the piper's demands. "Name your price," he said, his voice filled with urgency. "If you rid us of the rats, I promise you 1,000 gold coins." The piper nodded, his eyes glinting with cunning. "Consider it done," he replied, raising his flute to his lips. The crowd watched in anticipation, unaware of the cost they were about to pay. A haunting melody drifted through the streets, weaving an irresistible spell. The rats began to emerge from their hiding places, enchanted by the piper's tune. They followed him, each one moving in perfect unison, their tiny paws skittering across the cobblestones. It was as though they were entranced, and the townsfolk stared in awe as the piper led them away from the town. The Pied Piper led the rats to the riverbank, where his music reached a powerful crescendo. Without hesitation, the rats plunged into the water, swimming into the depths as the piper's song echoed. By the end of the day, not a single rat remained in Hamelin. The townsfolk cheered, their nightmare seemingly over, unaware that the piper's part in their relief was far from finished. When the piper returned for his reward, the mayor balked at the amount. 1,000 gold coins for a mere song. "Ridiculous. Take 50 and be gone," he sneered. Outraged but calm, the piper warned, "You'll regret breaking your promise." The mayor laughed and dismissed him with a wave, unaware that he had just set in motion a tragedy. That night, the piper played a new tune, one far more enchanting than the first. This time, it was not the rats who followed him but the children of Hamelin. Mesmerized by the melody, they rose from their beds and followed the piper into the night, their eyes glazed and unseeing, as if under a magical spell. As the sun rose, the town of Hamelin woke to an eerie silence. Parents rushed to their children's rooms only to find empty beds. Panic and despair swept through the town as they realized their children had vanished without a trace. The mayor, now panicked, ordered a desperate search, hoping to find some clue as to where the children had gone. Through dense forests, meadows, and hills, the piper led the enchanted children, who danced and laughed, oblivious to the danger. The piper's eyes gleamed with vengeance as he marched toward a mysterious mountain, the children following without question. The night stretched on as they moved further away from their homes, leaving Hamelin behind. At the base of a towering mountain, the piper played his flute once more, and a hidden door creaked open. A glowing passageway revealed itself, inviting the children to follow. Without hesitation they entered, entranced by the melody. The door shut behind them, leaving no trace of the children who had once been there. Among the children there was one boy who could not keep up. He had a limp, and as the others marched on, he was left behind. Sitting on the ground by the mountain, he wept in solitude. When the search party finally found him, he described the enchanting melody and the glowing door, a tale of sorrow that would forever haunt the town. The news of the children's disappearance plunged Hamelin into despair. Parents wept openly, and the townspeople turned their anger toward the mayor, blaming him for breaking the promise. Guilt and fear overwhelmed him as he realized the extent of his mistake, and he could only stand in silence as the town crumbled around him. Determined to find the children, a group of townsfolk set out with torches and supplies. They combed through dense forests, valleys, and hills, searching desperately for any sign of the piper or their beloved children. But as the days passed, hope began to dwindle, and their spirits sank lower with each fruitless search. Deep in the forest, the search party found a scrap of cloth caught on a branch. It was part of a child's tunic, and its discovery renewed their hope. They pressed on, determined to find the piper or the entrance to the glowing door the boy had spoken of. Yet the forest seemed endless, and each step led them deeper into mystery. The piper suddenly appeared before the search party, his flute in hand. "You broke your promise," he said coldly, his eyes unblinking. "Pay me what I am owed, and I will return your children." His tone was firm, offering no room for negotiation or compromise, as his gaze swept over the desperate crowd. The mayor fell to his knees, begging for forgiveness. "We will pay you double, triple, whatever you ask," he cried, tears streaming down his face. The piper regarded him silently, his expression unreadable, before raising his flute once more. The weight of his words lingered in the air as the mayor awaited his decision. The mountain door opened once again, and the children emerged, unharmed but dazed. Parents rushed forward, their cries of joy mingling with tears of relief. Hamelin had its children back, but the cost was heavy. The town would never forget the price they paid to undo their mistake. The ordeal taught Hamelin a harsh lesson. The townsfolk united to rebuild their lives, vowing never to let greed or dishonesty rule their actions again. The piper's warning echoed in their hearts forever, reminding them that broken promises could bring terrible consequences. Satisfied with the payment, the piper disappeared into the horizon, leaving behind a town forever changed. His figure faded into the setting sun, a reminder of promises made and broken. The townspeople watched him go, knowing that they would never forget the lesson he had taught them. And so, the story of Hamelin became a timeless warning. Keep your promises and honor your word, for betrayal can bring consequences more dire than one can imagine. The people of Hamelin would carry this lesson with them for generations to come, always remembering the piper who played a tune they would never forget.